Hey everyone, welcome to another video on Blender geometry nodes. In this video, we will see about curve line node and curve circle node. These two are simple nodes, so we are combining it together. I release new videos on a weekly basis. Please subscribe to my channel so that you will be notified when I upload a new video. This is Jay from CJ Academy. Let's start. Okay, I have my custom workspace set up. I'll share the link in the description how to set it up. You can take a look. And we have the default cube. We don't need that. Let's disconnect it. And today we are going to see about curve primitives, curve circle, and curve line. Okay, first we'll see about curve circle, and then curve line, and then some geometry together with it. So curve circle by default is in the radius mode. This means you have an option to resolution change and an option to change the radius. Resolution is nothing but the number of points needed to make sure the circle is perfect. Naturally, if you see, this is in two axes, and this is the same as arc node where the radius mode is available. I have covered about that also in a separate video. I'll share the link in the description. You can take a look. So this is pretty simple. Radius node, you have the resolution and you have the radius, and the output is curve output. Now coming to the points mode, you have more options. Resolution, same as the radius node, and you have option to control 3 points in all the 3 axes. This means you can create a circle in the 3 dimension. So now if you see, this is by default in the 2 axis. That's because it only have values in the x and y axis. There is nothing in the z axis. So if I change this to 1, you can see it's already in the 3-dimensional axis. The circle is not 2D anymore. There's nothing but it has 3 points. So if I want to explain this, let's put this to 0. Okay, if I change this, you will see this is in this axis, x-axis, and this is in y-axis, and means this side. And if I go for minus, see it's moving in this direction. So and third one is in the positive x-axis. See, and then z-axis, you know which point it is moving. So this is this tail end of the point, and this is the middle point. Okay, and this is the first point. So you have 3 points to control on all the 3 axes. And since this is not a radius mode, this is a points mode, you have the option to get the center value also as an output. Okay, you see, it's in the XYZ value. So the center value changes based on the points you change here. This is useful when you want to place anything at the center. So you can take this position value out of it. Pretty simple. Okay. So next we will see about curve line node. This also has 2 modes, points and direction. Points means the endpoint and the starting point. This also has all the 3 axes. Similar to the circle, you can control it in any axis you want, X, Y, and Z. Okay. Same as the endpoint. Endpoint is nothing but this tail tip at the top. Okay. Get it? Now we have the direction mode. Direction mode, let's all bring this to 0. Okay, if you see, starting point you have, then you have direction, then you have length. That means start point will be here, and then you have an option to choose the direction. Direction the line is going in. The length of this vector does not matter. It means if I put 0 this, nothing is there. But if I put 0.1, it's already up in this direction, which means it doesn't matter how much you change this. It does not determine the length of it. Length is actually determined from here. So if I put this to 3, it stays 3 in any axis you decide. So let's put this to y-axis. Instead of 0.1, I'll put 0.01. Still you got the line. That means it's more like, it acts more like a Boolean value. Okay. If it is greater than 0, it means the direction is in the positive axis, and it doesn't matter how much you put the value in the positive, it stays the same. The length is controlled from the length factor. And if you put this to minus, then the direction changes, but it doesn't determine the length. Length is always determined from here. So any node setup where you have the start point and the direction and the length. Remember, the direction is only acts as like a Boolean value. You say either true or false. Uh, More than a Boolean value, let's say Boolean is just 0 and 1, but we have here -1 also. So you have extreme of both sides. So you have -1. So you have minus value, then you have zero value, the absolute zero, then you have the positive value. Again, I'm repeating, it doesn't matter how much you put in the minus or plus. It will just take whether it is minus axis or plus axis or zero at the center. If you want to check this again, I'll put this to 0.001. You still get it. So it doesn't matter the value of it. Even if you put this, it still takes, even though it doesn't show here, but you have the value at the bottom in the highlighted area, you see. So this is the use of direction property, and then length you can change. And if what happens if let's say I put 0.1 here, 0.2 here, and then 1 here. So that means you get the direction on all the three axes relatively however you have decided. And this actually decides the ratio of the direction. Okay, so if I put 1, you can see XYZ takes a 45-degree turn. But if I put 0.5 here, it kind of takes the ratio. Like direction take 1 here, but you take half of that here. It is not deciding the length, it is deciding the direction. So you have X, you have Y, you have Z, and each one, as soon as you bring in another parameter, another axis, then it has to relatively decide how much you should go in a certain direction. So that is the use of mixing with more than one axis. Let's see one simple example for this. Let's bring in the curve to mesh. Now this is the usual one we can use. Curve circle as the profile curve. This is the guiding curve, and connected. It should give us a cylinder. And yes, of course, this is because of the axis we have here. Let's put all to 0 and only this to 0.001. And this is mainly because you have other axis, a value. Put this as 1. Okay, so you have a cylinder. Okay, so this is something we know already because it takes the line and on that direction the circle propagates. And if you put this, it will become like a solid. What happens if you exchange this inputs? Okay, curve line as the profile curve and circle as the guiding curve. What you get is like a disc shape. So to understand this, you need the joint geometry, and we will visualize the curve how it looks. Okay, let's see. So in this case, it takes the line and moves along the circle path. So it's more like a disc shape you get. Now, if I change the values here, okay, let's put this to point so that we get the three-dimensional axis similar to this. Let's try to change this. See, and the result shape for this is if I mute this, you can see it's very interesting to get a lot of shapes like this when you interchange the inputs for the curve to mesh. How you get it is something we have to investigate further. It needs a lot of time to think through it, how and all it behaves. But you can create wonderful geometries, interesting shapes just by tweaking some properties from here. Okay. Similarly here, so you get a cone shape or a parabola type shape. See, just by tweaking the inputs of this curve to mesh node. Okay. So you can create a lot of different geometries out of it. So based on that mode you choose, you get different outputs. So this is an interesting way to create some geometries. Please try and see what varieties you are able to get. Of course, you can play around with this by adding more points, more control points to this, and kind of bring the complicated shape from the basic geometry shapes. Okay, that's about it. If you find this video useful, please like it, share it with your friends. If you want me to cover any specific topic in Blender geometry notes, please let me know in the comment section. Please subscribe to my channel. I will see you in another cool video. Thank you. Bye.